Hey, what's going on, guys? Anth Predicts here. So today I have a new election video for you, and I'm going to be saying, can Republicans build on their Senate majority right now? A lot of the coverage is a lot of Republican seats are up right now. There are a lot of vulnerable Republicans, so it's been, can the Democrats gain seats in the Senate, or can they retake the majority? And I just did a video on that, so please check that out. And so now I'm going to do the flip side of it. Can Republicans actually gain seats in the Senate? Well, let's find out. So, Democrats are going to win in Oregon. Republicans are going to win in Idaho, Wyoming. And in this scenario, I assume Steve Bullock doesn't run, so Republicans will win there. New Mexico, I think, goes to the Democrats in a safe margin. Alaska will go to the Republicans. South Dakota, Nebraska. Kansas, I think, even if he's the nominee, I think Chris Kobach still wins with President Trump on the ticket. Oklahoma goes Republican. Texas, John Cornyn. If Beto O'Rourke does not run, or Julian Castro, or Joaquin Castro, Texas will go red. Pretty safe margin, I think. Arkansas will go red. Tom Cotton, very popular there. Bill Cassidy in Louisiana as well. Cindy Hyde-Smith was close last time, but I think she'll still win in Mississippi. Alabama will come back to. Georgia will come back to. Lindsey Graham, South Carolina, he'll win there. Tennessee, I think, will go Republican. Kentucky, Mitch McConnell will come back to. Shelley Moore Capito in West Virginia, she'll win there. Democrats are going to win in Illinois. That's pretty safe. Democrats will win in Delaware, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. My home state. Very interesting to see Joe Kennedy versus Ed Markey primary. That's pretty interesting to see how it's going to go. My money's on Joe Kennedy right now, but ooh, I should do a video on that. Ooh, idea time. All right, I'm going to make a Senate video on that. You heard it here first. Teaser for newest video. Massachusetts Senate primary. All right. Yeah, I think that's all the safe states for now. Republicans will have 46. Dems will have 42. The rest of these Senate seats, I think, are relatively competitive in this scenario. So I'll fill all these in. Okay, so where can the Republicans gain seats? Well, for starters, I think Alabama is pretty much a lock, or almost a lock to flip. I think Alabama's gonna flip because Doug Jones is trying to run as a Democrat, and Alabama, hey, it's already hard enough. Jeff Sessions is running, makes it a lot worse for him, and I think that Doug Jones doesn't really have much of a shot if the nominee isn't Roy Moore, so he's gonna probably lose there. I think Republicans are gonna hold on in Georgia. I think both seats are going to go to the Republicans, so they'll have 48. I don't really see if Stacey Abrams runs, this whole dynamic shifts. But if she doesn't run, right now she says she's not. Georgia's not going to change sides. Kentucky, I think Mitch McConnell is going to hold on for now. I think the Democrats could put a lot of attention and energy into it following Andy Beshear's win in Kentucky. But the simple fact is President Trump's going to be on the ballot as well. That's definitely going to help out Mitch McConnell. Plus, the opportunity for him to put another Supreme Court justice on the bench if something happens to Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the second term of President Trump if he wins. I feel like that's too much for the Republicans in Kentucky to pass up on, so they'll elect him just based off that. Now, Virginia, I think Virginia is going to go to the Democrats. I think Mark Warner will probably underperform some other Democrats because he's more moderate and the state's trending more to the left. But Virginia is going to go Democrat. They don't really have that Ed Gillespie moment where he's going to come up narrowly and just lose by a little bit. That's not really going to happen like it almost did in 2014. All right, so now we think Minnesota. I say Minnesota for now starts off in the likely column. Jason Lewis, I think, does have a good opportunity to make this race competitive, but there's just right now that's just taking a shot and guessing. There isn't really any actual data proving that yet. So for now, we're going to say Minnesota stays in the likely blue column. Of the remaining seats, let's just break them down. Colorado, for instance. This wouldn't be a gain if they won, but Cory Gardner would need to literally run a perfect campaign, and I think John Hickenlooper would have to implode. And what I mean that is, all the Democratic national attention has stripped him of his Colorado values, and Cory Gardner stays pretty middle of the road and not always sides with Trump. And I'll be honest, one of the best campaigners Republicans have. I can't see Cory Gardner winning Colorado. I just really can't see it now. If he starts doing better in polls, showing he can win, I'll absolutely do a video on it and show, hey, look, he can win. For now, I just don't see it. So Colorado's the seat Republicans are probably going to lose. Right now, The flips to gains is even right now because Democrats, Republicans both won one, both lost one. So North Carolina right now, I think Tom Tillis is probably going to win, probably within a lean margin. I think actually Alabama should be in a likely margin. I think North Carolina will be close. President Trump in an election year could be enough to bring Tom Tillis over the finish line. And if President Trump wins re-election, this is a Republican majority already. But if President Trump loses, Republicans are going to have to win even more seats to win the majority. So, Arizona, Martha McSally is trailing in polls right now to Mark Kelly. Right now, if you based off momentum, it looks like Mark Kelly is slightly favored in this race right now. But President Trump could help Martha McSally get over the finish line. He'll probably win in Arizona, and that'll be enough, I think, to narrowly bring Martha McSally over the finish line for Mark Kelly. This is if Republicans can gain on their margin, so I think she can narrowly pull out a victory there, bringing that to 51. So now Iowa, I think Joni Ernst could win within a lean margin or a likely margin. The tariffs aren't helping Iowa. Her approval numbers have fallen in Iowa, as have President Trump's. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I think in this scenario, President Trump would probably help her out, and I think she would actually help him out in Iowa as well. I think they would probably win about similar amounts of votes, so I think Joni Ernst would win in Iowa. Of the 3 remaining seats, I think Susan Collins, I think, is in better position for re-election than people are giving her credit for. She's not, she may be a little more unpopular now, but this whole Kavanaugh thing is pretty much faded away in Maine. Like, I guarantee you the only people still focusing on that are people who either didn't like her before anyway, or people who aren't even from Maine. So a lot of Maine voters are going to be upset at Susan Collins over the Kavanaugh thing, but I guarantee you a lot of them aren't. A lot of people have kind of moved on. They're more focused about 2020. And I think Susan Collins has a pretty good shot of winning re-election. It's not a done race by any set of imagination. So now Michigan and New Hampshire. So I left these two for last because in my mind, these are the best 2 chances for a Republican pickup in 2020. These are the best 2 states for Republicans to win. So Michigan, I think, is more likely than New Hampshire. Gary Peters, he's not unpopular, but he's more unknown. And if you're not known in politics, that's not usually good for you. Another thing is just how good of a candidate John James is. So I think John James can make this race very competitive. And I think Michigan would be a great state for Republicans to make gains in. This is the kind of state they could flip. That's the kind of state where Republicans could make a potential flip in Michigan. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm saying if Republicans were to make gains in the Senate, what states would they do it in? I don't think Minnesota is close enough. I don't think Virginia is close enough right now. Michigan, I think, is. New Hampshire, I think New Hampshire could flip on one condition. The Republican nominee is Corey Lewandowski. I know some of you may laugh at you, but I think Corey Lewandowski in this race would be immediately written off as no way he can win. He's crazy. He's a terrible candidate. The same way President Trump was in 2016 primary, and President Trump ended up winning, and everyone couldn't believe it. I think Corey Lewandowski would have that same kind of appeal and power in New Hampshire. So I could see Corey Lewandowski winning New Hampshire. Again, not saying that's going to happen. I'll do my actual Senate prediction probably in the upcoming days or maybe in a week or so of what I think is going to happen. But I'm just saying, if Republicans are to gain seats in the Senate in 2020, the 2 states I could see them doing it in are Michigan and New Hampshire. And I think Colorado could go to Republicans, but right now, Cory Gardner is not in the best shape for re-election. We'll see how his numbers fare in this whole impeachment thing, because he's been pretty quiet about it. But we'll see how things go for him. So that's my video of how I think Republicans could gain seats in 2020, Michigan, New Hampshire being those states. Thank you so much for watching. I recently updated my info tab for my YouTube channel, and I'm kind of sticking with this phrase that I'm just trying to make some great moments out of some great opportunities. And if you're interested in politics and interested in keeping informed in the 2020 election, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. It'd really help me out and go a long way. Please smash the bell icon button so you always get notified for the nearest video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.